The Knipex Forged Wire Strippers are a beautiful example of what German engineering in the tool world is capable of. And if you stick around till the end of this video, I'm going to give you a pretty good chance to win a pair of one of these for yourself. These things, in my humble opinion, are the best pair of wire strippers that money can buy. And really, they better be, because coming in at just under $60 at the time of making this video, there are plenty of other cheaper options out there. So just what makes this pair of wire strippers so special? Let me tell you. Coming in at 8 inches in length, just like any other pair of Knipex hand tools with a red and blue comfort grip, these things are incredibly comfortable to hold and feel like $1,000,000. One major thing that sets this pair of wire strippers apart from others, believe it or not, is actually the screw cutters. While screw cutters are a very common feature of wire strippers, these ones are threadless. This means that you can simply insert the 632 or 832 screws into the stripper at the length that you want to cut them without threading and cut. And it doesn't even matter which side you insert the screw in from. And before you say that that's dumb, because the point of the threads is to clean up the burrs so that the screws can actually be usable, your argument is invalid. Well, kind of. Yes, while on most screw cutters that are on wire strippers this is the case, Knipex actually engineered these things to cut clean every single time with no threading necessary. While I personally know that this is the case because this is my daily pair of wire strippers and I've cut many screws over the time that I've had these, I wanted to show you guys a demonstration of just how good these screw cutters cut and how clean the threads are. First, I cut 10 832 screws and screwed them into a 4-score box. The screws that I cut were a perfect 10 out of 10. Next, I cut 10 632 screws and threaded on a 632 hex nut. Again, the Knipex Forged Wire Strippers cut the screws at a perfect 10 out of 10. Next, let's talk about the shears on these bad boys. These shears can open really wide, especially when compared to other similar pairs of multi-function wire strippers. Not only that, but these things are sharp, like really sharp. These things can cut through MC like a hot knife cuts through butter, effortlessly. Of course, they're also great for cutting larger gauge wire, Romex, or even multiple smaller gauge wires at the same time. The wire strippers themselves are also incredibly sharp. Now, speaking of the wire strippers, these are capable of stripping number 16 through number 10 solid and number 20 through number 12 stranded. This, in all honesty, is one of my only complaints about these strippers. I do really wish that these things could strip up to number 10 stranded wire because that's a very common wire size that I work with in commercial. Now, the tip of these is another reason why I really love this pair of strippers. The end is just wide enough to give you a good purchase on anything that you're trying to grab, but also skinny enough to work in a lot of those needle nose type applications. There's also a portion of these strippers that works really well for gripping things like bolts. And of course, like many other hand tools, you can use the end of these things as a conduit reamer. Now, one feature that I don't think I've ever heard anybody else talk about, but is something that I really love about these wire strippers, is the locking mechanism. While it doesn't look like it from the outside, these do actually have a spring-assisted open. The spring mechanism is just on the inside. But Knipex made these so that the lock can be actuated from either the inside of the strippers or from the outside. It's a subtle detail, sure, but when you're using these every day, it doesn't go unnoticed. I now find myself wishing that every other hand tool with a spring-assisted open had the same locking mechanism engineering. Now, for all of the great features that the Knipex Forged Wire Strippers has, I'm not going to sit here and act like there aren't any issues that are worth mentioning. First, as mentioned before, I really wish that Knipex added a number 10 stranded wire stripper to these. Second, I've noticed that these things develop a little bit of a squeak over time. It's not a huge deal, but it's also something that I've heard other people mention about these. It can quickly and easily be remedied though by just spraying a little tiny bit of WD-40 on these, and then they'll open up quiet as ever. Lastly, while this is more of a wish list item, I do wish that Knipex added a wire crimper to these. I'm not an engineer, but it does seem like it would have been pretty simple to go ahead and add that at the bottom of these strippers, since there's no spring that's on the outside that would potentially be in the way. But maybe Knipex will come out with another variation of these where they do add one. Now, overall, even factoring in my smallest of minor complaints, I've never found another pair of wire strippers that come even close to as good as these things are. My advice is if you're looking to get a pair of wire strippers, whether they're your first pair of wire strippers or whether you're looking to upgrade a pair of wire strippers, go ahead and spend the extra money and get a pair of these. I think you'll be really happy that you invested the extra money on them. And if you're interested, I do have an Amazon link where you can purchase these in the description of this video. And if you don't already know, I do have a website, madelectrician.com, and on the website, there's a section called Mad Reviews. I do have a freshly typed out Mad review on these, so check it out if that interests you. And also, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter at madelectrician.com to stay up to date with all things Mad, which in doing so will also enter you in to win a free pair of these. I'll be picking a winner at the beginning of March 2024, and anybody that subscribes to my newsletter by the end of February will be entered to win. And your chances of winning these are actually pretty high because I haven't had a whole lot of people sign up for my newsletter yet. And if you do win, you'll be notified via email. With all that said, thanks for watching and have a good one.